I just wanted to kind of stay to the formatting of the previous episodes, right? Even if the opening is only like 5 minutes, like, hey, here's the movie, here's who made it, the animation's great, the music is great, spoilers, let's go. And then do 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 do, or whatever the fucking song is.
That should be your intro. Here's the movie. Open. The writing is great. The music is great. Spoilers. Do, 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 do.
That'll probably be the cold open unless we manage to trip Dilettant up in the spoilers part. Because making him the butt of the joke for the opening is like my personal goal.
How dare you?
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to World of Dragons podcast, the show where we talk about dragon stuff because dragons are cool. I hate that opening. Whatever. I'm Ray the Sea Dragon. I'm gonna say that without laughing. I'm Ray the Sea Dragon. And
I am I am Dilettant, the dragon of the bed, coming to you live from the Pillow Fort.
You're never gonna drop it.
I am never going to stop doing that. I only got like 5 hours of sleep. It's going to canologically. I am in my bed recording.
And I am Bantam, who is currently charging at full speed down the hallway toward Dilettant's Pillow Fort.
With a battering ram or to like join him?
Oh no, with a battering ram. I'm gonna full body just destroy his whole fort.
You cannot penetrate a fort kick-ass.
Anyway, so this is the show where three of us, 2.5 dragons. The three of us, 2.5. This is the show where we get together and discuss dragons in media, books, games, movies, that kind of thing. Giving a brief review about the medium itself before getting into a bit more in-depth kind of nerdy talk about the world that was built within it. The goal being to help you find more dragon content out there because there's a huge dearth, we need more of it, and some of it is really hard to find because it does not get advertised nearly enough.
And today we are going to be reviewing Raya and the Last Dragon.
Something that was not advertised nearly enough.
No, yeah, it just like Wish Dragon, it kind of was just like, oh, it's out? Yeah, let's watch it.
Granted, people know it exists because it's Disney, and Disney can't ever do anything under the radar, but I still believe they tried to sabotage this for some reason. They didn't advertise it, and then they released it only on Disney Plus with like a $25 surcharge or something. Like, I think they're purposely trying to scare people away from it.
No, I think COVID had something to do with it. I mean, obviously, they weren't going to make their money back in the theater, so they put it on the streaming service. But it was, I believe,
right. But weren't there a couple other things that went straight to Disney Plus rather than theater and did not have the surcharge?
No. So Mulan had the surcharge, Raya and the Last Dragon had the surcharge, and Black Widow had the surcharge. It wasn't until people rightfully were like, wow, Disney, why are you so evil? That they finally kind of stopped doing it, but I guarantee you they'll do it again.
They've only done it on movies as far as I know, but all TV shows don't suffer from that surcharge.
Alright, so about Raya. Again, it's been out for a while, we're just finally getting to it. This is the last freebie coupon these two get after I forced them through the Age of Fire books.
No!
And so they wanted to pick something easy, and so we're doing Raya because it's pretty easy. So hopefully you listeners are okay with the easy stuff and you don't think we're just being lazy.
Yeah, it's mostly for Dilettant and I because, I wake up and I go to work and then I have to listen to a book that I may or may not enjoy for 8 hours and then go home and it's like, ugh, I feel like I work 2 jobs at once.
We all suffer from my art. It's okay.
Yeah, it's nothing against the books. It's just I don't like reading. I don't even like listening to books. I like watching stuff, TV shows, because I watch things on 1.5 speed. So, I like to just front load media and then be like, yep, there it is, I watched it, and then go do other things.
So if I'm the book dragon, are you the movie dragon?
I would say even though I'm a huge gamer, I would say I'm the movie dragon because of the amount of stuff that I go, hey Dilettant, have you seen insert movie here? And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, that's going on the list. And
yeah, that list is like 2 miles long at this point.
That list is is
I guess it makes sense you as the half-breed would be in charge of movies because you got to fit in the director's seat or something. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's just I'm imagining like my little cavern is like filled with books. It's like my lair is a library, and I'm like, behold my hoard.
My
books.
lair is
and your lair
a
is
gigantic.
it's like if we got a picture.
It's a gigantic plush couch in front of a giant TV screen, like a mini movie theater, with tons of snacks, tons of beer, tons of food, tons of sodas, and that's it.
And Dilettante's lair is a pillow fort.
Dilettante's lair is the most comfortable
The most
bed in the world.
indestructible pillow fort.
But no, I guess that makes Dilettant the video game dragon. Are you up to the task?
No.
If we were talking about Command and Conquer, then yes. Aside from that, no. So I guess...
Hey, hold on, not just Command and Conquer.
Sorry.
There's a few other ones.
There's a couple other ones, but I guess I'll have to also take up the mantle of video game,
So wait, what is Dilettant in charge of?
Sleeping.
It's a very important job that has to fall to somebody, okay?
So
I gladly take the sacrifice.
Dilettant's job is to be an accessory to me. So basically, because I need someone to subject to the movies.
Dilettant's the guy that doesn't know what's going on. So we're like, and then this happened, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense.
Yep.
He's the outside eyes looking in.
There you go. Now that's invaluable.
Okay, that is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm multimedia, Raya's books.
And I am the outset eyes.
You are the...
Now I'm just imagining you drawn as like a little kid dragon. You got the freaking propeller hat on.
No, none of that.
That's how you...
Don't give the viewers ideas.
That's how you tell that they're young.
Propeller hat and giant lollipop.
And big eye ratio with a little sparkle in your eye.
He's like, gee, Bantam Ray, what are we doing today? Well, today, slams War and Peace on the table.
And I'm like, run! It's too late for me, but you still have a chance.
Dude, okay, so when I was like digging for books to put on the list, I was having people suggest some to me because, I have, like I said, they're hard to hear of, especially when dragons are surprisingly hidden within the book. I had somebody suggest, I'm going to say these words wrong, and I'm sorry, people, I read more than I listen, but Priori of the Orange Tree or something like that. Apparently there's dragons in there. I have no idea. I put it on the list as a maybe. I'm going to have to dive in and scout it out to see if there really are dragons in there. But I went to Barnes & Noble and found the book, and Jesus Christ, that thing is a monster.
I'd correct you, but I've never heard of it.
So we'll see. If any of you have read it, let me know if it actually has dragons or if I was getting trolled.
There was another book. Ray and I went to a Barnes & Noble, and we were kind of scouting out books. And so I decided I would actually scout out a book. And I found one. But I'm too lazy to actually, quote unquote, scout the book and listen to it ahead of time. But I guess the general plot is that it's a post-apocalyptic world where humans are scavengers trying to gather up tech to survive. And some group has a gigantic mecha dragon that looks like Shinryu from Dragon Ball Z. And they steal it. And yeah, that's all I know about the book. I just saw a mech dragon.
Anime as hell.
Well, I saw a mech dragon on the cover, and I was like, "Ooh, mechs! I love mechs." And then I read the sleeve, and apparently the dragon is a machine and also a MacGuffin, and so I don't really think that would fit the criteria because I highly doubt it talks, and I highly doubt it's intelligent. It's just a machine.
Unless an AI gets inserted into the body.
Yeah, that would be the requirement. It needs to have a personality for it to count.
Yeah.
But yeah, listeners, if we're getting off topic, it's because there's not much topic to cover today. It's one movie. Like, there's not even like any like books to back it up. Like, it's one movie. It's an hour and a half. It's gonna be as bad as Wish Dragon.
Wish Dragon was bad because I was doing it like 3 a.m.
First of all, how dare you both? Wish Dragon was not a bad episode.
Okay, no. Okay, yeah, the episode I still was like, ugh, we got super off topic, too much rambling, and we're going down the same path again.
That's not a bad thing. We were still technically on topic about the podcast. We're just talking about like random crap.
Yeah, I suppose so. Just open every episode with 10 minutes of bullshit.
Hey, why not? Let's just see our personalities.
So what are things happening in Dilla world?
It's fucking Little Debbie's out the ass.
How's the insurrection going?
Well, I keep trying to eat the leaders, but more just keep rising up to protect your place. So
Are you trying to union bust by eating them?
I'm not.
For shame.
It's worked in the past. I just don't know why it ain't working now.
All right. Enough stalling. Raya and the Last Dragon. Gonna start with the no spoiler kind of just review, as if people haven't heard of it. Maybe they've avoided it because they're just boycotting Disney. Who knows? But the animation style, the story pacing, the dialogue, the world building. I guess thoughts on all of that. We'll start with animation style.
I mean,
I love how free-flowing Sisu is, and it's Disney. There's never going to be a drop in quality when it comes to animation.
Unless they try to experiment, but I don't think they've done that recently.
No, this is kind of like a safety zone for them.
Yeah, when I say, I mean like they experimented with the weird Mickey Mouse shorts on Disney Plus.
oh yeah.
They're like 4-minute long, like what the heck is going on? Yeah, animation is great. It's beautiful. Always, it's Disney.
My controversial opinion is the fact that I actually like the animation of Wish Dragon more.
Wish Dragon is a bit more blocky.
And I liked it. It was easier to look at.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I wouldn't say it's controversial. Everyone's got their preferred styles.
Yeah, I can't really converse against it.
I mean,
I was going to make a joke. I was going to be like, Dilettante likes the Jelly Bean style of Steven Universe, but it's like, no, I can't do that to him.
Oh no, please no.
It's called the Caltech animation method. It's everything is jelly bean shaped because it's easy to do. Also, if edit point, Ray, if you want to stick this in, the book with the mech dragon is called Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon Ha Lee.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, everyone's just being quiet. This is my greatest fear come true. Everyone being quiet because there's nothing to talk about.
It's fine. It's just time to move on to the next topic. Story pacing.
Yeah. So the point is, the animation was beautiful. Like the models were great. Everything was free flowing. The backgrounds, like the landscape itself, amazing.
The landscape is almost indistinguishable from real life in a lot of places. I mean, aside from the fact that it's obviously very fantasy, but like it looked like, holy shit, that's a real place.
Yeah.
The only thing that ever really took you out of that was the human characters' faces and Sisu herself.
Because dragon?
Well, because brightly colored soft dragon, and then the human faces were all, perfect.
They were oversimplified animation style.
Perfect faces, no blemishes, no...
Like, not going for photorealism here, so it's like they obviously are fake, but I mean...
Yeah. But their bodies, like, at a quick glance, like their clothing, the textures on the clothing were so realistic that, like, if you were to just... lop off the heads, it would look like it was a real person in a real place, and then you put that head on it and you're like, oh, it's an animation.
Yeah. I also feel like everybody moved relatively realistic. Like there wasn't any like spasness going out like Wish Dragon had a bit. Except for one character. I'll get into them more later, but the baby. I feel like the baby was a little spazzy.
Oh, the baby and the monkeys, like...
Yeah.
All those characters were the comic relief, not realistic, kind of took you out of the...
Like, it was only during the introduction, the chase scene, where they really spazzy. After that, they kind of really calmed down a whole lot.
Yeah.
What about the chef captain?
He was never spazzy. His personality was a little extra, but animation style, like the way he moved, it was fine. Completely normal.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so animation, 10 out of 10, right? 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, something,
yeah.
10 out of 10.
I mean, now, I forget, did we actually watch this in theaters, Ray?
No. It never went to
theaters. It never went in theaters.
It did go to theaters at some point.
Oh, it did go into theaters afterwards because stuff was starting to slowly open up.
I believe we actually did see it in the theater because...
No, we didn't. I wanted to, but we didn't.
We did not pay the premium, so we either waited for it to become
free.
No,
I paid the premium.
The three of us watched it on Discord for the first time around.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I distinctly remember the movie theater vibe.
Because we were in our own little personal theater.
I guess.
We were in your lair, which is a theater.
Yep. That's right.
Which is not properly scaled for dragons, by the way.
Listen, the kobolds are... I would have the kobolds expand the space, but currently they're
Dilettante and I were very cramped.
They're fighting against Dilettante.
I'm working on it. I'll get back to work soon.
All right. The story pacing.
At the beginning, it was good, but then once they started looking for the pieces, it ramped up significantly.
Yeah, that moved pretty fast. Like, we have to get through these 5 zones.
Well, it felt
Lightning
like
round, go, go, go.
it felt like they really wanted you to become invested in their world and the lore of their world and its history. And then they realized, wow, this is going to be like a 4-hour-long movie. And
That's why I was wishing that they released like a book to go with it or something.
yeah.
Like back in ye olden Disney days, like Lion King and Jungle Book era, like they had books to go with them that told like background stories and side stories and all that.
Well,
I was expecting them to do something like that with Raya, which is why I waited so long before allowing you guys to do Raya for this show, because I was waiting for those to come out, but they never did.
okay.
They released books, but they were just retellings of the movie.
Okay, so I just one quick interjection on what you just said about Lion King and Jungle Book. The thing is those were just things that Disney stole and made animations out of.
I know. I don't mean the literal Jungle Book by like Rudyard Kipling. I can't say the name. I'm
Rudyard
sorry.
Kipling, yeah.
Yeah, I just mispronounced it to holy hell. I heard myself say it. But I mean, like Disney themselves released books. That's like using their own art style and telling their own version of it. They released books to go alongside the movie. Not the same time, it was later, but like that's how people know that Scar's real name is Taka.
Oh yeah. Which
was
is
from
trash.
books like that. Yes, I know. But again, the point is, I was waiting for them to do that with Raya because they had such a rich world to explore, but they never did. And I'm kind of disappointed in it. Maybe it just takes a lot longer, maybe like a few more years, but I feel like it would have happened by now.
Yeah. Then again, I mean, we can always at least hold out for one more year and just blame it all on COVID.
Everybody's blaming everything on COVID.
It's easy.
Blaming COVID is so 2019.
2020, buddy.
Well, I mean,
COVID wasn't a thing in 2019.
No, it started 2019. Well,
No,
we're not
it
talking about
didn't.
COVID. This is not the COVID episode. All right. So yeah, the pacing got a little fast in the middle, especially because one of the complaints I've heard and I agree with is there was just too many quote main characters.
Yeah, because it was the leaders of each of the.
Not leaders. The freaking chef boy is not a leader.
No, I'm talking about the
It's
leaders
really
of
just-
I'm talking about the leaders of each of the clans.
Not the Ocean City doesn't join them though.
Okay, I'm not saying too many characters in the whole movie. I'm saying too many characters in their little group that goes from place to place.
Yeah, there's the chef, the warrior chief, the baby, the monkeys, Raya, Sisu.
And eventually, we can't really go into eventually because spoiler technically, but yeah, there was just a lot of them, and so it's like, for example, when you meet little chef boy, he's great, he's charming, he's amazing, right? And then he quickly fades into the background as more and more people get put on that damn boat.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So there was a problem. I had a problem with that. A spoiler section. We'll talk about why I understand why they did it, but I didn't agree with doing it at all. But yeah, too many characters, and that kind of also caused the middle part to move really fast. But the beginning and ending were pretty good as far as pacing goes. I guess the dialogue. I don't think any of us really paid much attention to the dialogue.
I will say, as far as the voice actress who played the voice of Sisu, 11 out of 10. The very first time I heard her speak, I went, "Ugh, that's the voice they picked for a dragon." And then, like within 5 minutes, I was like, "Wow, that is surprisingly fitting. I love it."
Yeah,
Like-
it fits the personality.
Well, it they didn't make her sound like some young infantile juvenile, I'm a moron kind of character, but she almost sounded like, like a middle-aged to late-aged adult who, just wasn't used to talking to people, which is accurate. But I really liked her voice by the end of the movie.
Yeah, but like as far as like the dialogue written, like none of us pay attention to that. We only really notice when it's bad dialogue. Like people don't talk like that.
Yeah, if you don't cringe at it, you know it's a good job.
Yeah, so I guess the dialogue was pretty good then.
What is this delectable treat? People.
The single greatest gift to come out of that movie.
Yeah.
Because people are delectable treats.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
You've never tried one?
No.
You're not really missing much.
I'm all about spaghetti and junk food.
Or I guess as the token villain on the show, I would be the one to eat people.
I guess I'm the neutral man.
I don't know. It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to kobolds or chickens, you are way more evil.
I imagine Dilettant talks to his chickens.
he's got them all dressed up in like little outfits, and they run around his castle, and he's just like, "Oh no, the big dragon's here!" Ah.
Actual chickens that are just like
Yeah, walking
like
around
walking
with like
around pecking at things,
cardboard
and he's
costumes.
he's doing the little kid playing with dolls thing where he gives voices to them. Oh no, spare us!
And he picks one up and eats
Chomp.
it.
You can see we're struggling for content this episode. All right, whatever.
You
Jesus
gotta.
Christ.
The more you call it out, the worse it's gonna get.
Yeah.
I know, but the thing is like I feel terrible about everything so far.
Oh, don't worry. I got enough shit to say about the movie when we get into spoiler territory.
That's
Cool, let's get into spoiler territory then, because 26 minutes in, I'm sure going to cut 15 of this out.
that's
worry
the
about
problem, and you can cut this, and you should cut this out too. There shouldn't have been a spoiler section. It should have just we talk about the movie.
I just wanted to kind of stay to the formatting of the previous episodes, right? Even if the opening is only like 5 minutes, like, hey, here's the movie, here's who made it, the animation's great, the music is great, spoilers, let's go. And then do 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 do, or whatever the fucking song is.
That should be your intro. Here's
That's
the
the cold
movie.
open.
The writing is great. The music is great. Got spoilers. Do, 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 do.
That'll probably be the cold open unless we manage to trip Dilettant up in the spoilers part. Because making him the butt of the joke for the opening is like my personal goal.
How dare you?
But yeah, I guess the music. We could talk about the music real fast. Anybody notice the music?
I did unnotice the music. Just,
So again,
We're
music.
not professional reviewers, so we don't know what to freaking watch for and talk about.
Well, for me, music has to be absolutely spectacular for you to really notice it, because most music in movies like this, unless they're actual musicals where the characters are singing, the music is background. It's not meant to be
Raya the
distracting.
musical.
Unless it's an emotional scene. But I didn't really notice the music too much in this movie. And that's okay, because the music and
That means it fit perfectly.
yeah, it really did, because otherwise it's just awkward silence.
Next time we watch a movie, we should probably watch it 3 times. The first time was the just blind walk, just absorb everything. Second time, we're specifically looking at the character models and animation like super closely.
And then
the
third one is
time,
dialogue and music.
Yeah, well, music, we probably listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
We'd listen to the soundtrack between the second and third watch, and then see if you can recognize the songs in the third watch. It's like, that would probably be better for trying to actually review this stuff.
Yeah, probably.
But we probably won't because we're lazy.
I mean, not me, not when it comes to movies.
Okay, you are the movie dragon. This is your job from now on.
Okay, done.
If I'm spending my free time scouting books to make sure I give you guys ones you actually enjoy, then you get to be in charge of overanalyzing the movies.
Done. Absolutely done. On one condition. That means that you're going to have to put more movies into this timeline.
I mean, if there's more movies with dragons, and then yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of movies with dragons, but none that you'll approve of.
Well, because like freaking Rain of Fire doesn't really count as a dragon movie.
Not Rain of Fire.
I'm just saying, like as an example, that's a lot of what the quote dragon movies are.
There's a comedy movie called Dudes and Dragons, which is like a parody D&D movie, and the dragon.
We could just watch the D&D movie.
The dragons aren't intelligent in that one.
I know that's.
But in Dudes and Dragons,
is the dragon? Oh, you have to show me like the trailer or something, and we'll see. But the point is, in most movies, dragons are just mindless, dialogueless enemies.
Or a plot device.
I mean, plot device is fine. Just give me more than 5 minutes screen time. Plot device.
oh, I guess we can do Merlin then. Oh well.
No,
We can do Merlin, but okay, it's like if we did Merlin, it would be an episode that Dilettant leads because he's seen it all. We would just watch the parts with the dragon specifically, and then try to make an episode out of that somehow. I don't fucking know. Is there enough dragon scenes to make an episode out of that?
Absolutely. He's actually tied to the dragon story-wise, so during laser seasons, he becomes a very pivotal part of the plot.
All right. Well, then maybe we'll figure out a way to make that work. But
I'll
yeah.
scout it and pick out the important episodes for you.
Okay. All right. This should really be a discussion we have outside the show, but hi.
So can we talk about the transformation before or after spoiler?
I mean, we're probably just going to go into spoiler right now.
Okay.
I guess we should technically say goodbye so we can say hello.
All right. Goodbye.
Hello.
And welcome.
Okay, no, seriously. Trying to be a bit more serious about this. So, we kind of went through our thoughts on the movie, its production value, really fast. Again, we're not professional reviewers, but overall, I still think it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I do hope to make a sequel, and we get more dragon goodness out of that.
So the only bad news I have on that front is because I was looking at it, looking into it. The budget to make the movie was $100 million, and it made $130 million. And yeah, great, it's a profit, but to a mega corporation like Disney, that's not enough of a profit.
Yeah, the only hope we have is that the models are technically done, so production costs should be down for the sequel if they do it.
That is true. I did forget about that. With an animated movie, once the models are done, they can usually pump out a sequel pretty quick.
Yeah, so fingers crossed we'll see, but overall, good movie. You should watch it. If you're boycotting Disney, then I guess more power to you. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna play my little music clip to mark the mark. Jesus Christ. To mark the point where the spoilers will start in case you haven't seen it and you want to.
And welcome back to spoiler territory.
Yeah. I hate this episode so much.
No, listen, we're having, if we're laughing most of the time making an episode, I call it a good episode.
I'm never going to let people in the Discord call to just listen in.
They'd be probably having a blast too. They'd be laughing with us.
They'd be having a cringe fest.
Nah.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so we never even talked about the plot of the movie up until now. Nobody knows what happens. Well, I guess they've already watched it. Unless you decide to skip it. Come right here.
Yeah, this episode's such a mess. Because technically at the beginning we should have been like, the general plot is dragons existed, then some big nameless evil shadow came and started turning people to stone. Dragons tried to fight it off with their magic. Dragons turned to stone. The last dragon manages to energy blast all the bad things away, but now there's no more dragons. Then shenanigans cause the darkness to come back, and they have to go find the last surviving dragon and try to fight the darkness. And yeah.
Yeah, there is a...
That would be the spoiler-free synopsis.
Yeah.
But we're in spoiler territory, so who cares about that?
Yeah, so what did you guys think about the Droon as a villain in a whole?
I want to know where the fuck they came from.
So according to
unexplained.
Sisu, they're born out of human discourse. They're like the polar opposite of dragons. The more humans fought, the more Droon started to actually
But
rise.
I thought humans didn't fight when the dragons were still there.
Exactly. That's a very pivotal plot hole in the movie. Nobody really... There's no actual origin.
Everything was so happy and unified when the dragons were there with everybody.
Yeah,
so how was there enough discourse to cause shadow creatures to come into being?
I don't know. That's never addressed either.
I will say that the Droon as a villain, the black smoky stuff, one of the most terrifying bad guys in essentially what could be considered to be a family-friendly, like Raya is yet another movie in the Disney lineup where it's like, yeah, take your whole family to see it. And it's like a black smoke that envelops you and turns you to stone while you're screaming in horror and then you're just silenced. Like that's kind of messed up.
I guess from a little kid point of view, yeah, but like I was like unimpressed. I was like, oh look, it's the concept of badness. Ah. It's like, okay, this is kind of tropey at this point.
Not all concepts of badness can come in pleasing shapes like you.
Oh, why? Thank you. No, but just the fact that the point is when your villain is the concept of discord, it's like there's nothing to really sympathize with. Like, you don't need to sympathize with every villain, but like there's no villain point of view to really try and understand. It's just
that is true.
It's just like, oh well, obviously it's bad. It's the literal concept of being bad. It's a very shallow antagonist.
Yeah, it's more of an obstacle than anything.
Yeah.
I will agree on that because a lot of really good villains either have that, well, they're making a really good point, or I kind of feel bad for them, or if only this didn't happen and this guy could be redeemed, or, you know,
exactly.
And it's like when you have literally just a cloud of evil that can't be spoken to or reasoned with, it's like,
Yep. The best villains are the ones you're like, I kind of get it.
Yeah, that's why Saren would probably be the best villain I've ever seen for Mass Effect.
Because you can kind of get it.
I did get it.
I haven't played Mass Effect all the way through, so whatevs. Dilettante is the dragon of video games, just not all of them are dragon video games.
No, see, Dilettante and I are going to have words after the podcast about Mass Effect. Because I don't know what game he played, but Saren did not have any point.
Yeah, Saren had as much of a point as the Imperials did over the Stormcloaks.
Bull crap.
So Dilettante and I are on the Imperial side of Skyrim, and Bantam is a dirty Stormcloak.
Skyrim belongs to the Nords.
It also needs to belong to Argonians. So, fuck you.
Right of the Conquered, Skyrim belongs to the Imperials.
But they didn't conquer it. They just moved in and said, follow our laws. Like, there was no war until...
Hey, look,
that's
conquered.
conquering. That's the definition of being conquered.
Not every conquer needs to end in actual, full-scale war. I plant my flag here. This is mine now. No flag, no country. That's the rules.
I'm about to go plant the flag in Ray's throne room.
I mean, I'll fight you for it.
Let's go.
Okay. Squash.
So I want to talk about, I wanted to mention the whole transformation thing, because when we first started watching it, and when Sisu first showed up, I was like, wow, she looks really good.
She's pretty. She's very pretty.
She is very pretty, and even though it is kind of a fantastical design for a dragon, especially with color choice and shape, it
wasn't that out there.
But once she transformed into a human, I immediately was like, "Oh, this is bullshit."
Yeah, for first-time listeners, we hate the shape-shifting trope of dragons. When you have a dragon turn into a human in your story, it is just an excuse to not have a dragon in your story.
Yeah, it's like at that
It
point
really
they
is.
never had to be a dragon. They could just be a primitive that they found in a cave who doesn't know our customs.
Yeah, this is especially true for movies where you don't want to spend a CG budget on a dragon, but live-action movies specifically. For animated movies, I guess it's less of an issue because you're making the model anyway. But it still just feels kind of like...
it feels cheap.
It feels like you're hiding your dragon, and so it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
fine. Why even bother having one?
And so when she turned, I was initially really upset, because my first thought, and I remember saying it out loud, was, "Oh, great, we're gonna see the dragon in the very beginning, and then at the very end of the movie, and that's it." But no, she used her dragon, her human form, the perfect amount, like what is reasonable for the story. When they had to be around other humans, she was a human, but the moment that they left and they were on their boat going off to their next destination, she was a dragon, usually swimming in the water or on the deck or just, chilling out somewhere, but she didn't stay over long in her human form.
Yeah. I would also like to say that the way the shapeshifting was done, where apparently only one dragon could do it, and she got his power when got that particular shot of the gem, I'm okay with that then. I don't like it when every dragon can shapeshift and every dragon is always human to try to be in hiding or whatever. But when it's a special gift that very few have, then okay, I can what's the word? Relinquish to that? Relent.
Yeah.
I can relent. So yeah, the fact that it was her brother or sister, I can't remember, was one of their powers, and she just got access to it. It's like, okay.
It was for her sister, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't Prani, was it? But it doesn't matter. The individual dragon whose power belonged to, not really that important.
Yeah, their name's only mentioned once, and that's literally for the shapeshifting, and never again.
Yeah, that happened every time she got a new power. She just threw out the sibling's name, which felt kind of random, and it feels like they're trying to build towards a larger world eventually, which is why fingers crossed for sequel that has all the other dragons in it, and that's why we needed to know their names.
Yeah.
But otherwise, without any sequels, without any book tie-ins or anything like that, it feels completely unnecessary, honestly. It's like, hey, have a name. Cool. What do I do with this? Hey, this is worthless.
going back to your point about Disney sabotage, I don't think that Disney intentionally sabotaged the movie, but I do feel like they saw the writing on the wall, and they were like, well, we can't release this in theaters because people are the smart ones are avoiding theaters. Let's release it on the streaming service. And I do remember that the moment that all three of these movies that I recall had premiums, Black Widow, Raya, and Mulan, the outcry was horrendous. And rightfully so. You're paying every month for access to watch a show, and then you're going to release a movie on there, and you're going to charge more than a ticket price. You know, like some of the most expensive tickets I've ever seen, if you were to go to like the super recliner leather seats with the rumble and the giant screen, those are like $15 to $20 tickets, and you want $25 to watch it at home.
Yeah. They're 15 to 20 to, they're about 13 something in where we live. They might be more expensive wherever someone else lives. Yeah. But yeah. I think to play devil's advocate for Disney here,
I know about the
think they
thing.
They tried to average it to the price of 2 tickets, because when you go watch a new movie, it's usually with at least one other person. People don't watch movies by themselves. So I think that was the justification behind their price. I don't know if I agree with them charging a premium at all. Because, like, oh yeah, they're missing out on the theater bonuses. Like, well, but you're also getting money from me every single month.
Yeah, so take the cost of the Disney Plus subscription out of it. Give a discount to people who are already subscribed. Otherwise, if people want to watch the movie,
I could see that.
They could go to the Disney Plus website and just click pay for the movie, watch it that one time, have no access to the rest of the site.
Yes, that would be perfect. It would be $25 if you're not a subscriber. If you are, then you can either have it for free because you already have a year on your account, or take the monthly cost out of the price or something. Like that, I feel like would be the fairest.
And I remember a couple months ago, we were walking through a Walmart, and there was a gigantic display full of Raya and the Last Dragon toys. And so what I'm wondering is if they realized that they weren't going to really make their money back on the movie, because granted, it according to Wiki, it has a $30 million profit, but if you factor in marketing, that's gone. They made no money on this movie. But
does marketing not get tallied into the production costs on those things?
No.
Well, again, I don't think there was really any marketing.
Yeah, I was about to say there wasn't any marketing.
Well, at the same time, I feel like they were trying to make their money back with dolls and toys and
merchandise is where all the money is. Yeah. Yes, that's the truth for everything.
But I think Disney just kind of saw what was happening with the the economy and everything else, and just kind of dropped it in our laps and went, enjoy, and walked away.
I should get a Sisu toy though, just to have on my shelf.
A stuffed one or a plastic one?
If it's going to go on the shelf, probably a plastic one that I keep in the box forever.
Oh,
but getting a plush for my nest would be pretty good. Maybe a body pillow of her older brother. What were we talking about? The transformation.
Yeah, we were shitting on the transformation.
No, it was actually decent. Like, normally we hate it, but this was actually okay.
Yeah, this was done. This was like basically towing the line of what I consider to be acceptable. Any further, like if she spent an additional 5 to 10 minutes in her human form in certain scenes, I would have been like, come on. Because I did really enjoy seeing her as a dragon. I liked seeing her float around, and I liked seeing her, not.
Yeah, I liked the way they animated her, like her movement.
Yeah. Especially like when she was swimming underneath the boat in one segment, like that was really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if every dragon is given one magical power and uses just to swim really good.
I mean,
I feel like I get the short end of the stick.
I mean, another one was just fog, so I guess the spectrum is everywhere.
Yeah. But again, you can find a good use for everything.
Yep. But so we normally talk about just like the world that was built, the universe itself, and this one had a pretty decent one, even if we didn't get that much details. I don't agree with the landmass being dragon-shaped.
Yeah, that seemed a little...
Or I guess the water mass in this case.
Yeah, the water was shaped like a dragon, splitting the 5 tribes: Fang, Heart, Spine, Talon, and Tail.
Yeah, so I feel like having your land or water shaped like a dragon is like...
That is based on a real river that exists, in Vietnam.
So, yes, but that...
Is the actual river dragon shaped?
Yes.
Give me a Google Map image right now.
All right, give me a sec.
like this isn't the Rings of Fire episode, but I just want to like pick at it. The continent is just shaped like a dragon, and I'm like, all right, that's extremely childish. Sure, yes, it's a book for children, but it's like, do you really have to do this?
Okay, it wasn't Vietnam, it was Portugal. It's the Blue Dragon River.
And it's I mean, it's a river. I get that it looks like an Eastern dragon, but
I can see it, but it's not as, I guess, crisp or clean as people do with their landmasses in fantasy worlds.
yeah, there weren't a lot of broken up areas near the shore, like.
But whatever. So sure, once in 1,000 times it happens, but I guess it's happened in too many fantasy worlds for me to be like, all right, I can accept this. So it's like, it feels a little tropey. But that aside, if your watermass / landmass is going to be shaped like that, then naming your kingdoms after the parts that they're by, that's kind of cool. I can admit that.
Not really. It feels kind of embarrassing calling yourself Spine. And what if you
I mean,
expand? What if you take over the Talon and
But
Tail?
you can't take over because the dragons are the peacekeepers and they're there forever.
They weren't really there for that long. But like, okay, like say if Spine takes over Heart, would they be Spine and Heart? What happened to the
They'll
name?
be Spart.
No, I think you'd stay
Or
Spine and Heart, because Heart would be
Occupied.
occupied. Yeah, that's the word.
It would become their second city, essentially.
Yeah. Wait, was each kingdom only one city large?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I hate that.
Actually, I think Tail was desert nomads.
Yes.
They didn't
I
have
want to
cities.
give them the benefit of the doubt and assume there were more cities. Everyone's just the capital was the cities we went to in all of these.
Well, not really, because remember the Droon is going around turning everybody into stone, so there wouldn't really be many people left for big cities.
Right, I'm talking pre-Drune.
Oh, pre-Droon? Well, at the beginning of the movie, I don't know if those were like representatives or like the entire population.
I guess they could be very small populations.
Yeah, because Spine, I think he had like 1/4, and they went to go fight the Druid. I don't know how. I'm still questioning what their logic would be, how they would fight these clouds of evil when no weapon can hit them.
They probably didn't really have a plan because, after all, I think she refers to them as rage heads at one point. They don't, like, it's a little, I feel like it was a little racist, but to make the northern barbarian people like stupid like that, but whatever. That's what they did. Let's make the people in the cold north the Mongols, and let's make them idiots.
Yeah, no, at anytime a movie tries to adopt the Mongol, because their armor and weapon style obviously very Mongol. And yeah, the fact that they kind of made them out to be stupid or primitive at least, was a little ridiculous, but I think they just don't want to glorify what they don't want kids looking into what the Mongol Empire did too much.
That's taught in school now.
Yeah.
Oh, I did try to do some
No.
research about why the people were frozen in that specific pose in the
Oh,
statue.
I was going to ask that. Like, why, when you freeze, you automatically go into this hand cupping position?
So I tried to dig around to see if this movie was tied to any specific Asian religions, and from what I can gather, there wasn't really any specific source. It kind of borrowed from bits and pieces there, but the actual hand cupping wasn't key in anything. What it was, or at least from what I'm theorizing, is that all the dragons weren't frozen in those poses. They were
No,
frozen.
they've got frozen whatever they were in at the time.
Exactly. And the last one, Sisu's brother Pingu, was frozen in that hand-holding pose that everybody mimics. Supposedly, that was supposed to be some sort of bit of foreshadowing about how Raya has to trust her friend, trust the assassin from Fang in order to put the orb back together. But there, as far as like actual religious reasons, there wasn't anything I could dig up. But as far as story-wise, there's nothing ever said about why they're cut and handled.
All I got from it was it's sadder if they look like they're stuck in that position than if they were stuck in their frozen, horrified, oh god, I'm gonna die pose. I just thought that it was just like, oh, it's more impactful if they look like they're begging or...
It would have been more impactful if they were just frozen right then and there at the time of last thing they were doing. Like,
Yeah,
Pangea.
that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what I said. But like...
Pangea? You're thinking of
Pompeii.
Yeah.
Just imagine how much it would suck if the Droon, if like someone was grabbing their kid and by the wrist and dragging them, and then the Droon got them but missed the kid, and so now the kid's just locked in place.
Oh God, that June wouldn't miss a
With a
meal like that.
stone hand around your wrist.
This is a child's movie. You can't do that. It's like I don't think we're ever gonna like feasibly like. What happens if you smashed a stone person?
We're too soft nowadays because like way back in the 80s and 90s, that kind of stuff did happen. You know, like they didn't care about traumatizing kids even during kids movies.
I mean, we should go back to traumatizing them.
Like Dark Crystal kind of stuff. And
I mean, Land Before Time was apparently traumatizing, but I was so young, I kind of didn't notice it.
well, like Land Before Time was he didn't want to coddle people, but that also wasn't Disney. That was Don Bluth. Don Bluth did not believe in hand holding and coddling.
Oh yeah, he did some crazy shit. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it depends who might play crazy, but yeah, he was out there.
The only thing dragon that I think he touched on was, didn't he do the Dragon's Quest for Camelot?
I don't think that's his animation style, so no.
Oh.
Did he do Page Master?
You know, he might have.
It vaguely seems... Whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll look up Don Blue stuff later. Jesus Christ, this episode. This is just, again, why I don't like single movie. Whatever.
I mean, Last Dragon didn't do too bad. Or not,
West Dragon?
West Dragon.
Yeah, I wonder what we talked about for an hour and a half there.
I think we were just dicking around most of the time.
Ugh.
Dicking around's a good thing. You're having
I know,
fun.
it's pretty cringe, bro.
No, dicking around is not cringe. Like, it's not as cold. It's vibrant if we dick around and have fun with it.
I'll dick you.
Whoa, man.
It's the difference between a bunch of people sitting around with sipping tea and trying to hold their monocles in, and a bunch.
Dude, I want to sip tea and hold my monocle
and
in.
a bunch of bros
out.
chilling out, going, "How about that shit, huh?"
I like the bro format.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, bro format's good, but there's still a lot of white space in here.
We're working on it.
It's like no one knows to talk about.
Okay,
again,
so
the main problem is they didn't really go into too much detail of the world itself, so there's very little world building to discuss beyond the shape of the landmass and the names of the tribes. I mean, each one took inspiration from an Asian culture, but I don't know enough about human cultures to be able to pinpoint each of them, and I don't want to try. I'm going to end up offending somebody.
yeah, and I couldn't find any actual sources depending on what culture or what inspires from where. There was only theories, but nothing ever concrete.
Yeah, they really didn't do enough world building in the movie to justify.
Again, like we said, it got kind of rushy in the middle when she was picking up all her passengers. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're going to freaking Tail. What was the floating city? Which one was
Fang.
that? That was Fang? We're going to Fang. And like, oh, this is a really interesting city. Nope, we're out in 5 minutes. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, the floating marketplace?
Yes.
That was Talon.
Okay, whatever. Talon, this is really cool. 5 minutes out. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little sad, but all right.
Also, Ray, you wanted to talk about two specific characters at the end, post-spoilers, about their design?
Not their design. I think I remember saying because, like, I was complaining that there were too many, quote, main characters for such a short movie that kind of added to the feeling rushed. And it's when she was picking up, you pick up the baby, you pick up the barbarian, you pick up the whatever. And then I was going to say, and then she gets the Fang princess on her side. I'm like, well, that's technically spoiler, getting her on her side.
I got you.
But also, okay, so the baby. Hated the baby.
Fuck that baby.
Well, every Disney movie needs to have a comic relief character, and
that was a comic relief, though. That was just annoying.
It was.
Everything else was like semi-grounded in realism. Then you have this
literal
baby
infant.
That's got to be like a year old. Yeah, and a little infant. Hold on, how long was the time skip at the beginning after the June broke out, and then they time skipped to her going to get Sisu at the last river?
6 years, I think.
That's a 6-year-old baby?
No, her baby. I mean, they were still having kids while the June was out. It's not like pre-production stopped.
I guess that's fair. Just that
the parents could have been stonified like only a year ago.
All the other characters were grounded in some form of reality, but then you have a literal infant who has not only trained an army of monkeys
and running through the town,
flipping through town, training an army of monkeys. It was unnecessarily stupid,
and that's apparently as smart as Raya herself just can't talk. So
yeah,
but apparently smart enough to be able to sass her back.
It was unnecessarily stupid.
It really was.
That character, if you remove that character entirely, I don't think it would affect the story.
Or make her like 8 rather than like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I would even take a 4 or 5. Just,
I don't know at what rate human children grow up.
I mean, like, at age 4 or 5, like, if you were raised, I could see it. But a 1-year-old just learning how to walk, flipping around, scamming everybody, no. You don't have a concept of money at that age.
As a dragon who lives alone in the mountains, I don't know how human babies function, but that ain't it.
That ain't it, Chief.
But that was the only character I had problems with. Everybody else was amazing.
Who was your
Realistic.
favorite?
Honestly, the Fang Princess, whatever, I forget her name. Favorite human character?
For me, my favorite human character was definitely the Mongol barbarian guy.
Really?
Oh, I was going to say him. Yeah, I loved him.
He felt kind of bland compared to everybody else, honestly.
Well, he started off bland, but then toward the end of the movie, he grew an attachment to the baby character. It was
because I guess, he lost his baby in this.
Yeah,
in
so
the
it's
Stone
kind of
War
implied he's like adopting the baby temporarily, because I'm assuming
the parents come back at the end. Yeah,
but it's like
they do adopt him back.
It's like he had a little bit of heart at that point, but there were a lot of moments where
he can't have heart. He's from Spine.
Well, slap. There were a lot of moments.
Do you think they made the Spine and the Barbarians because of the term "have some spine" or "have some backbone" or whatever?
Obviously.
Who were the Heart people? Heart was Raya, right?
Yeah, Heart was the ones that were the only ones that actually willing to trust and rebuild Kumandra, and then they got dicked over.
Because the people from Heart actually have feelings.
They were also the ones that were guarding the stone,
and that's why the people from Fang were the fierce ones, because Fangs is like, oh my god, I'm getting all the references now. I'm like,
okay, but the Talon is just a wretched hive of scum and villainy. How does that work out?
Because they're greedy, and Talon is the hand, so they're grabbing things.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know how you're going to come up with something.
Tail were the nomads, because the tail was always moving and never in the same place twice.
Oh my god.
And the guy who did stay in the same place died.
There you go.
I hate it. I actually hate it. I came up with this myself, and I hate it.
Well, see, this is something the movie should have addressed, because if they told, the backstory of why these tribes called themselves that, I mean, aside from their positioning on the lake, because that doesn't.
Then I wouldn't come from these terrible conclusions.
Yeah, now fans can come up with these conclusions that either make them hate the movie more or love the movie more. But like, give us something to chew on.
Yeah, I want to chew on you.
No,
can't do that. I'll stop you. All right, so about that ending, my dudes.
So the ending worked, which is why I admit that they needed one person from every single tribe, which is why I'm like, I guess that's why there's this many main characters, but I still feel like it was a lot.
Yeah, because didn't they all like join hands, hold the gem, and let the Droon take them or something?
Yeah, they all gave their piece of the gem to Fang Lady. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, and then went to go hold hands and let the Droon take them. Yeah. So it's supposed to be like all the different tribes putting their trust in each other kind of deal.
Yeah, rebuilding the Shattered Orb.
Yep, very sappy.
Which then dies and then gets brought back to life and then revives the dragons, even though it didn't do that beforehand.
Well, you're skipping over the fact that
you're
skipping over the fact that Sisu was killed, shot in the
we
heart
don't acknowledge
with a crossbow. Which, okay, I was like, oh shit. Like,
let's backpedal a little bit from the Sisu dying just to talk about Sisu's personality throughout the whole thing, how she's like overly trusting.
Yeah.
And then even after getting bamboozled and almost killed by the people from Talon, she's like, I trusted you. Big mistake. And then immediately goes back to, when they get to Spine, we gotta trust them. We gotta show trust before we can get trust. I'm like, that worked out very well last time. It's like, this is a lesson you're not learning.
Yeah.
Well, she was learning about humans, Like, okay, this one betrayed me, but maybe this one won't.
But she's been around humans before. Just 500 years ago. I guess
yes,
back
but
then...
Back then, everybody was nice, though, because the dragons were forcing them to be nice.
Ray's got an agenda.
But then if they were forcing them to be nice, how did the Droon get here?
That's exactly the problem! We need a prequel of like this one person who's not happy with the dragons effectively ruling over the people. Like, they paint it in a very nice, like, we lived in harmony, but like, no, I'm pretty sure there's some dark dealings going on in the shadows.
I bet you like one guy had a bad day, wakes up, and a Droon just appears in his bedroom and then just starts the whole thing.
No, I think I want to believe that there was like one person who sees this peace between humans and dragons as the dragons basically forcing the humans to work together, right? Maybe he came from like a poor family or something, and he's not allowed to like move up in station or something because the status quo is great and we got to keep it here, and the dragons don't want things to change. So he's like, well, fuck this. I'm gonna take my fate into my own hands, and he goes and does some like dark shenanigans, and oh no, June, he was the first June because he wasn't content with the way things were.
when your disappointment with your station in life is so bad, you turn into an eldritch monster.
Well, we need an origin story for the Junior Island, and then they were there.
Yeah.
It's like, where'd they come from? There was who knows how many years of peace and prosperity between dragons and humans, or among humans with dragons alongside them, whatever. And then, hey, out of nowhere, here's a concept of darkness because we need a story.
Yeah, the Droon definitely felt like they wrote out the whole story and how the characters would come together, and then they're like, well, we need something for them to come together against. And some guy in the room was like, how about like a black swirling cloud of evil? Done. Love it. Promotion.
And then not to mention, they try to shoehorn an actual villain towards the end, the leader of the Fang tribe. I mean, how would you rate her as a villain? Because she wanted to...
We need a villain that's not sexy and won't get porn drawn of it.
Too late.
But no, she heard about Cece coming back. Everybody's happy about the gem being better together, but she wants to, because she thinks Fang's going to get blamed for everything going to shit beforehand. She's like, no, we got to steal the pieces and this dragon and then make it to where Fang's the one that actually fixes everything we broke.
Yeah, that does feed into human insecurity. Because if you think about it, it kind of was Fang's fault that June came back in the first place. They planned to steal the gem from Heart rather than try to be friends.
Yeah.
So this is just like you further along the dark road to cover up your tracks of getting onto the dark road. I don't know, something. Basically, her motivations made sense, I guess. Considering the way it was always resolved was literally just a faith and trust MacGuffin. I could see somebody not being completely trustful in that and being like, no, we can't really put all our hopes and dreams on this working. Might as well just look out for myself because that's the only thing I can count on. It's like, I can get that.
Yeah. And trying to ease the guilt of everybody hating you. Which I can understand that too.
So this is a random aside. We don't need to go into it. But as an also weapons nerd, the fact that everybody in this movie had very realistic and weapons, and then Raya gets essentially what is a whip sword.
Ivy's sword.
It's Ivy's sword. It's a whip sword, which, yeah, they have existed in real life, but they were ornamental. They are impossible to control. They break immediately upon striking things.
But there's also dragons and magic in this world and conceptualized darkness.
Yeah, but no one else in the movie, anyone had anything even close to a magical...
Well, you know how most animes, you can tell the main character by their hairstyle?
This one's by their weapon.
You can tell them by the weapon. Yeah, there you go.
And their samurai hat, the rice hat.
Yeah. But yes, then Sisu dies.
Yeah, so the quote-unquote bad guy, if we ignore the Droon, the quote-unquote bad guy... aiming a crossbow at Raya, basically, like...
Again, there's just no trust anywhere.
There's no trust anywhere. Aiming the crossbow at Raya, and Raya is like, no, trust me, and then...
No, yeah, she's
No,
aiming at
Sisu.
Sisu because she's worried that Sisu's going to be angry or something.
Right, and then Raya uses her whip sword, and at just the moment of impact, she fires and kills Sisu.
Well, the thing is, because she was not going to shoot Sisu, that was just like for protection because... Dragons are great. I miss them and I love them.
Yeah,
because she was a dragon fan. But I everything's fucked up and it's kind of our fault. I don't want this dragon to be mad and attack me. But when she started to she was going to calm down and realize that no, it's going to be okay. I think she only pulled the trigger because she's got poor trigger discipline, and Raya tried to grab the crossbow. With
I
the sword.
remember us talking about that. She had her finger on the trigger the whole time. And
Terrible
I remember
discipline.
one of us, someone made a joke about this was before trigger discipline.
Yeah. But yeah, then Shot falls into the water dead. And I remember being like, oh, well, there goes everything.
Yeah.
And then literally the water goes away.
Which was I actually liked that. The fact that in their world, the water literally comes from the dragons.
Yeah. And if the dragon's dead, then so goes whatever element they control.
Which means everyone's just fucked at that point. Try and survive without water.
I mean, there's a lot of water in the human body. You just gotta find ways to extract it.
Oh, yeah, they would have shriveled up into raisins.
Yeah, so where's the line between water and not water, then?
And like actual moisture, the plants would turn into twigs, the air would just become super dry, you'd instantly raisinify.
Yep.
Raisin fry.
I think the term is just dehydrate.
No, it's raisin fry.
It's raisinify. I'm coining it.
Raisinification.
Raisinification. No, that's what happened.
But yeah, like, so here's an interesting concept. Like, it's going to be a little gross, but whatever, our listeners are adults. If you, like, filtered your urine, like, Waterworld style, to have drinkable water, does that immediately vanish the second it becomes water?
These are the questions the movie didn't answer.
These are the hard-hitting questions the audience has.
I mean, I think it would just be like sources of water that go away.
Yeah.
I bet if there were like
I think it's literally just the dragon-shaped lake and all the rivers attached to it.
Yeah, because like I think if like maybe someone had a well in their backyard, the well would still be fine.
Yeah, I think it's literally just the dragon-shaped lake. Especially considering, here's a fun, not so fun fact that I discovered. Apparently, they were debating on having the dragons come back at all. Originally, they were thinking about having the end of the movie being just humans. There's no more dragons, no Sisu. Nothing comes back.
Wow.
That would have been awful.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of very
terrible.
outraged people.
No, not really. They just deciding on how dark they wanted it to be. As a dragon, I would have been outraged, yes, but I think most people would have been like, well, that kind of sucks, but oh well.
Yeah, that's true.
No, okay, in a land of all sorts of bullshit magic where dragons can just emerge from rivers as bubbles and then reform at a song, and they can't come back to life with their little crossbow bolts. Not to mention running on fucking rain, which I cannot understand for the life of me. How can you stand on falling water?
So Eastern dragons have a concept called body fire, where they do not need wings or even gusts of wind to fly. They fly using they wrap their whole body in magic and basically become weightless. It's it's not something that was described in that movie. It's just something I know from mythology. That
a lot of wingless dragons can still fly through various whatevers. I think the look of just running on rain or whatever was just the visual design they wanted to do for it.
Yeah, and it looks cool. I'll give them that.
It does look really cool. I think they can do it anywhere. It doesn't have to be where there's rain. If you get super technical, they're probably just condensing the water in the atmosphere itself or some bullshit.
Well, I think she was capable of doing it with or without water. It's just the water helped her, visualize each step.
No, she could only run on the rain. Like when the dragons came back, it was in a large rainstorm. They were all just hopping along.
Right, but I think that just happened to be during a rainstorm.
No, it was because of the rain she could do that.
Do we know for sure that they can't do it without rain?
I didn't see them do it without rain, but I've seen
that's
them
just
do it
because
with
you just
rain.
haven't seen
The,
it.
the whole thing is Dilettante is these are Eastern dragons. They are based on Eastern dragons. And so Eastern dragons do have the ability to fly through the air without any assistance on physical objects. They can just fly.
Yeah.
Then why did Raya need to take a boat if Sisu could fly?
Well,
him?
because she didn't have that power yet.
Why didn't the hobbits ride the eagles into Mordor?
Well, okay.
There's actually books explaining that.
Yeah.
There is books explaining this.
There's a lot of
this is all explanations that people come with after the fact to try to validate the original story's decisions.
Well, never mind.
Actually, no, it is because of the rain. Because I remember when Sisu went to go take Raya back to Heart to show her like brothers and sisters in the stone, she called a rainstorm and then ran across it. Raya was like, "Well, why'd you make it rain?" It's like, "Come on, I got to show you something," and then starts running towards Heart.
Okay, maybe.
So, boom,
I
win.
I mean, with the little information we have, I guess it makes sense. We would need someone to literally come out and say, like, no, they can only do it during the rain. It's all assumption, but it is pretty strong assumption. I'll give you that.
If they took the entirety, if you cut all the comedy out of the movie, like let's say for example there is 8 straight minutes of comedy in the movie, mostly with the baby. Cut that in half. Now spend those 4 minutes having a one-on-one with Sisu and Raya explaining the history of the land in more detail.
I mean, the problem is that can't really come up organically. That's when you get into the situation where really bad writers will be like, they'll have like a scene where two characters are talking, like, as you know, this and this and this and such.
Easy.
It'd be like,
You just have them standing on a cliff looking over the dragon lake, and then Sisu could turn to Raya and be like, do you want to know why it's shaped like a dragon? Boom. Done.
Even then, Raya's justified in just asking Sisu a bunch of questions. She's a massive dragon nerd. Why wouldn't she drill Sisu out the ass for lore?
I feel like if Sisu flew, okay, I feel like if Sisu flew at any other point besides the heartwarming ending when all the dragons are coming back, I feel like then I can be like, wait, you can fly, and then they could have explanation there. But in the way the events came out in the movie, there was no way for it to come up organically.
Plus, with everything moving at the speed that it did, there's always something more important going on.
Yeah.
And since it was made for kids, they don't really like to put a bunch of lore in, just a bunch of flashy effects to keep them entertained.
Again, why I feel like they needed some book tie-ins.
Yeah, I will agree with Ray on that point. It's like, then they really should have done a book tie-in for the people who really do want to get engrossed in the world.
Did they do a book tie-in with Zootopia?
I haven't bothered looking.
Furries took care of that.
Like, well, I mean, yeah,
also,
that too.
we don't really need book tie-ins with Zootopia because it's literally just, it's more or less just Earth if everyone was animals instead of humans. It kind of still follows the same logic with differences in engineering to accommodate the different sizes and body shapes.
Yeah, I assume it's a good social structure too with the predator and prey thing.
I mean, they barely address that. Like, that's the whole point of the movie, sure, but it's not like it actually plays into anything. I think that would be, without the evil plot of the movie, right? Basing your assumptions on somebody based on predator or prey would be just as bad as modern day racism. Like, this person is African, so that means this. They don't do that because it's supposed to be, that's like racist.
Right. No, I'm just trying to think if maybe just Disney stopped it altogether. Because there wasn't really there's not enough money in it to justify it.
I mean, maybe. I don't know how much money they get off of different things.
Probably not enough as an actual movie, so they say, like, why waste time explaining the lore when we can just make another movie?
Well, here's the thing is, I don't know, like, if Disney were to have to hire an author to write a book that takes place after the movie of a human that goes to go live with the dragons and whatever they use for a city just to try to, like, rebuild relations or whatever. Come up with your own plot. Point being, a book that has a plot that excuses, that gives the dragons a reason to be explained to a human how all of their stuff works and why they're like, where they came from, how long they've been there. If dragons or humans came first, why is the water shaped like this? Why did it go away when they were all gone? Where did the June come from? All of these questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much it would cost to hire the author and then to publish that compared to how much they would expect out of it. I don't know. I don't know how much things cost and how much things make. But I feel like they could have gotten away with it. Like, they have so much money that they could just do that.
Yeah, but they want to turn that money into more money, and it's all about, when you get to that level of wealth, it's not about making more money, it's about investing that time into big projects that can make a lot rather than smalls that can make a little, and that's what those background lore books would be to something as big as Disney. It's just such a small niche, like,
small profit margin.
I mean,
yeah.
The point is, the amount of books, Disney tie-in books I've seen, I can't imagine they sell that amazingly. Like, again, a book retelling of the movie, I don't know how much they expect that to make. So why do they make that instead of this new book with a new story? There were also some books in the young adult section that I saw that were like classical stories told from the villain point of view, I think. And it's like, sure, interesting content, but how many people would actually read that?
I would.
You hate books?
Yeah, but I like villains.
I'm a villain.
I know. That's why I like you.
Okay, so getting back to Raya, because we're veering off course. Dilatan.
Yes.
If you had the chance to remake the movie and you were a director, what would you change? How would you do a better job? Or do you think it was perfect?
Definitely wasn't perfect. I'd say take the baby, increase her by 5 years, keep the monkeys going, but in between the sections of where they're grieving for their family or trying to talk about. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I could fit in, but it's such a cramped rush towards the end.
Do you want me to go first?
Okay, then.
Okay, first of all, cut the baby and the monkeys out of the movie completely. Bring the comedy and silliness level down a little bit more. Sisu is no longer the last dragon. Dragons are still there, but they've forsaken humankind, and they're off in the mountains hiding. And she is the only one who believes humans can be, taught to love or taught to trust. And so she has to prove that she can change the way humans have become to be welcomed back into dragonkind. Because she's the only one who stuck it out for the humans, and therefore she was ostracized. I personally, and I could be completely off base here, whenever there's a movie with a fantastical creature and it's the last of its kind, that's so fucking cliche and stupid. I'm so tired of it's the last of its kind. Oh man, I've never seen one in real life before. It's the last.
And it is pretty overdone.
Stop having it be the last of its kind. There can be others, but they don't want to talk to you or interact with you, so they're somewhere else. And then you can cut to them every once in a while. Have a council of dragons that are watching over Sisu because they secretly want her to succeed. And they're like, yeah, she's having trouble. I wish her the best of luck. But if she doesn't fix this problem by, next month when the equinox or blah, 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 whatever fantasy BS you want to pull, then all is lost, and we'll ascend to the heavens and we'll leave them to their fate, doomed to die.
So they're more celestial dragons than water dragons at this point?
Just anything that just don't have her be the last. It's so cliche and stupid. And the reason they do it is because
good news, everyone. She's not the last anymore.
The reason they do it is because if Sisu is ever in any danger, it's supposed to add false, unearned gravity.
Yes.
Because, oh no, they captured Sisu. She's the last of her kind. If anything happens to her, we're all doomed. And it's like, oh god, the gravity of the situation has been inflated to massive degrees. And it's like, whereas if she were not the last dragon, but they still captured her, they'd go rescue her because they like her and she's a friend. And they owe it to her,
Yeah,
that is a surprisingly good insight from you. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, well...
With how much you hate reading and books and all that, I did not expect you to understand the concept of fake stakes.
Yeah, no, I know fake stakes. I know fake stakes a lot. Because I
have underestimated you.
I get it from my video games a lot. The fake stakes.
What? Video games don't have good stories.
Yes, they do.
No, I take that back. Listeners, don't crucify me. I understand.
We just played Endwalker from Final Fantasy XIV. Games can have amazing stories.
We're not going to say anything about it because it's new
obviously.
And super duper spoilers. Then they don't come to us for MMO shenanigans.
We could do an episode on the dragons of Final Fantasy.
I don't know, maybe.
I gotta sit that one out.
No, you're going to just sit here and listen.
You're going to just make him watch the cutscenes, the 10-hour cutscene video.
Yeah. Oof,
indeed. But whatever. So, Dilatin, do you know what you do different now?
Okay, so I keep the baby in, but I increase her by 5 years and add 2 specific scenes. One where they're on the boat and Raya is just nerding out to Sisu, or even during the journey between Tail and Talon, she's just asking so many questions about dragon life and whatnot.
Is she trying to get her autograph on the scroll?
Yeah, something like that. And then another scene, which would be something similar to The Lion King, where Sisu goes out at night and Pengu, his brother, talks to her from the stars, gets some sort of advice or something, just makes him a character.
Probably from the river, because they're water dragons, not the stars, but the river, but yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Oh, she goes to the freaking hilltop where she last saw them, and they turn to stone, and just kind of monologues slash soliloquies to the statue.
And then maybe gets some sort of voice back, have a back and forth between them somehow.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just to give some hint as to what their relationship would have been like before the whole Droon thing came along.
Does she have a moment of doubt, I don't know if I can do it, Pengu?
Yeah.
What I would do differently is I really wanted to explore the Droon more, especially where they came from. So my whole tangent earlier about the guy who's not happy with his station and ends up creating the June by being the first person to be like to experience Discord or whatever. So my reshoot would start earlier, so the 500 years ago, to kind of show where they came and how it all started, right? I guess I would focus mostly on that, so it would be like a completely different movie. Like, I guess I would just shoot a prequel more than an actual redo at that point.
Yeah, that would have been a prequel.
Really like Bantam's idea of the dragons then retreating into solitude because humans can't be trusted, because the humans are the ones who created the June. What? That's amazing. Wow. But yeah, I figured we needed better explanation about the June.
Really about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Droon definitely did need some justification for being there. It felt very...
There needed to be a broken seal or a gateway to another world or something that's like, why is it showing up now? Dilatan,
Yes.
as a dragon, would you live here?
No. Because I gotta defend humanity.
I mean, before or after. It doesn't have to be like during the words.
Anytime.
It doesn't have to be during the events of the movie, but just like the world itself, the way it's built. You'd have to be a water dragon because you'd have to follow their rules.
But no, because the dragons are still entrusted to protect humanity. So I had to follow those laws, and that's boring. And apparently
don't want to defend humanity?
Nah, they're kind of hazardous to your health.
All right. Bantam?
Yeah, no, I agree. I wouldn't live there. Mostly because the world itself. So there is another thing I noticed about the movie, which is the world felt empty. It felt like if you didn't live in one of these 5 major cities, then there was no one left on the planet. It
was post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it felt empty and unlived in. Like, I don't even recall seeing too many like animals or birds flying in the air or anything. Like, it was a very empty world. And
yeah, that's a good question. Do Droon eat animals?
I'm assuming they do. What happens to a bird?
We never saw any statues of them.
What happens to a bird if it gets eaten by the Droon? Does it like fold its wings forward into a cup?
Maybe.
Can you imagine when the Droon first show up and they like take a bird or something and the bird just falls out of the sky, a big fucking cement bird, and just smashes some dude in the head and he dies? He was killed from a falling brick bird.
Hold on. At the end, did Mr. Armadillo turn into stone at all?
No.
No? So maybe they only eat people.
He almost did, though.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't live there because it seems...
Wait, the little monkeys did, though, right?
Yeah,
yes.
I think the monkeys did.
So they can eat animals.
But there was also that cart in the middle of the desert where people were turned into stone, but their horse was nowhere to be found.
Interesting.
It doesn't make sense.
Inconsistencies, I sense.
It's more humans creating problems for the rest of the world to deal with.
But yeah, I would probably live here for a bit. I'm already a water dragon, so not very much changes. I would be the first evil water dragon.
No, you'd be forced to be the good guy.
No, he wouldn't.
Would he, though?
I'm leading the charge against the banishment of humankind from our lands because they created the June in the first place. There we go. That's my arc.
You create a giant bubble to quarantine the area until all the humans are gone. And then when the humans are gone, the Droon goes with it.
Yeah. If they're beings born out of human discord, then obviously just get rid of the humans.
Simple.
Done.
Problem solved. Clap, clap.
All right. Any last minute thoughts?
No, it was a wonderful visual spectacle, and that's pretty much all it was. I know that the movie got rave reviews, but I don't really agree with them. It was an entertaining 1.5-hour movie, but like rewatching it again, I was like,
It was a very beautiful movie, like you said. Yeah, very beautiful. I liked a lot of things they did. It was overall pretty good. The main problem is that it did leave a lot of things to be desired, which is why I, again, am sad that there's no book tie-ins. Fingers crossed for sequel and all of that, because it leaves more questions than it answers.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does the same thing that the World of Warcraft movie did, where the first movie was kind of a jumbled mess of like, where do we start? But it was very pretty to look at. And it's really tough to see if that's going to warrant a sequel.
All right. Once again, thank you for joining us. Bantam, tell them where they can find us.
All right, so our Twitter is @officialwadpod. Our email is wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. And our Patreon is World of Dragons Podcast. Yeah. If you want to reach out and you want to ask any questions, even if it has nothing to do with any of the episodes, like you want to get to know us, or if you want to, give us suggestions on what you'd really like to hear an episode on, just keep in mind our criteria that the dragon needs to be at least somewhat of a main character and potentially and hopefully voiced. Basically, we just don't want to... We want to focus on those over mindless beasts or just animal MacGuffins. Because that's not really much to talk about as far as a dragon goes.
Yeah. Will we allow them to write in and tell us how bad we are at this?
Yes. If honestly, like
in a constructive way, please don't be hurtful.
Yeah, in a constructive. If you have any suggestions, like maybe I do know that I have a problem with reaching across and grabbing the steering wheel and yanking it off the road.
You have literally taken Dilettant's mic away from him.
In the last episode, I basically just like held Dilettant's mouth shut and just talked over him the whole time, and I did not realize I was doing it.
The listeners won't realize either because I cut out a lot of Dilettant's false starts for the sake of making sure everything else is clearly understood. But yeah, if you thought Dilettant didn't talk a lot, that's why.
I tried.
Yeah, so I mean, like.
There we go. You just did it.
I tried to engage
so like
as much as
what
I
I was saying.
Oh my goodness, Bantam! All right, Dilettant, I am sitting on Bantam. You may have your turn.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Now it's too late, Bantam. You've ruined it.
I was doing it on purpose. I was waiting for him to start talking so that I could just be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you motherfucker.
Next episode, we're doing
The Great Green.
A video game.
Golden Treasure.
Golden
the Great
Treasure.
Green.
Golden Green, not Great Green.
No, Golden Treasure, The Great Green.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a relatively new game, June 17th, 2019. What? It's not new at all.
It wasn't... something happened only like maybe 6 to 8 months ago where it suddenly got really popular. Like people, I think a couple potential influencers found it and talked about it, and so I only heard about it only a few
like 2 months ago. Yeah, so I thought it was new. Apparently it's not that. Okay.
But the problem with that is that, Steam, unless you're a big publisher with lots of money, I don't really think that I think you have to pay for front page advertising on Steam. But when it came out, I don't think I ever heard about it. And
nope. But this is exactly what we mean when we say it's really hard to kind of find the dragon-centric stuff, which is why we made the show to help you hear about stuff. And then we'd also like you to tell us stuff that you've heard about that you don't think we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next episode we're doing Golden Treasure of the Great Green, which is a video game. It's a visual novel. And then after that, because I announce things a month in advance, gives you time to take care of it yourself to avoid spoilers. But we'll then be doing the book Vankir the Dragon by Maxim Durand. The audible narration is provided by Jack Voreses? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name.
Copy paste it to me. Voraces?
Maybe.
Voracis? I don't know.
Something like that. Dilettant,
Yes.
leave them with an inspirational quote.
You can shine no matter what you're made of. That's literally the first thing that popped in my head. Don't judge me.
No, that's good. I don't care where you get it from. I know what you're referencing, but I don't care where you get it from. Just Bantam is in charge of media. I'm in charge of announcements, and then you're going to be the inspiration quote guy.
Oh, man, I got like the hardest job. What the fuck?
Yep. Starting now, that's your job.
No, but if you have to come up with them on the spot, those are even better. You could,
all right, you know what?
You could steal some stuff from Sun Tzu. Just be like,
No,
light your enemies on fire. They hate that.
No, I am not going to steal anything. I'm just going to wait till the last minute. Whatever pops in my head, that's what you're going to hear.
All right.
It's like the world's greatest fortune cookie.
It's going to be great. Let's crack them open.
Wait, no.
All right. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.